I just wanted to thank City Council Monique for having our sidewalk fixed and hopefully get our parking lot fixed. I really appreciate the company did a really good job. Anybody welcome to come check it out, it came out nice. I want to thank Councilman Papadaka for bringing some goodies to the center last Friday. Yeah, and we really appreciate, everything y'all do for the center. So I just want to let y'all know. And anybody who wants to come to the center, visit anytime, everybody's welcome to come home. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Maria Lozano.
Maria Lozano, 5203 Allen Bean Drive. Madam Mayor and council members, I'd like to start off by first thanking the City Council for the umbrellas that were set up at the pool. They, I know I had mentioned it during the budget workshop, it's like we need some type of covering for the pool, and like a couple of days later, the umbrellas were there. I know it was coincidence, but I really appreciate that, especially Garza and Walsett and Marvin and Street for having those items there. I also wanted to thank Pro Tem Ryder for the Zumba and the walks that she has now scheduled at Friendship Park. I feel like this is what our community needs, a lot more activities for us to, of course, enjoy and get healthy. I also wanted to talk about the presentation for the Kirby board of the Kirby Rock Garden. As chairperson of the Beautification and Recycle Committee, we are always looking for ways to beautify our city, and I think the City Council should consider their proposed plan to have a rock garden, as I feel that that's something that would bring some interest and beautify our city in some way. And then finally, I wanted to talk about item 8N on the agenda. Request to repeal the stop sign at Fred Hay and Vincenzo Road. I think the City Council should consider leaving the stop sign in place. While it did take me some time to get used to that, to making that stop there, I now get to see how it is beneficial for our residents. That section between Crest and Charles Conrad, it's almost about half a mile, and I do see where prior to the sign being up, the traffic that would pass by, whether it was through Kirby, from Kirby residents or from outsiders, they could go pretty fast. Most of the times they don't follow the speed limit. They go over the 30 miles per hour, and so leaving the stop sign, it requires them to make that stop and slow down. In addition, the crosswalk that's there, it also allows our residents to cross at that midpoint rather than having to go half a mile between stop signs to cross, or worse, jaywalk across there. And it could be a lot worse if they do that. Also, the intersection where Fred Hayes comes out, there is a blind spot where it's difficult for people that are coming out of Fred Hayes to see the traffic that's coming back and forth. So they kind of have to, go in slowly to cross into Benzingelman. So I think that stop sign there is very helpful. I do not, or don't see that removing the sign just because a former council member or former city council requested it, or that a former council member lives down that street, that it should be removed for that reason, because it doesn't just benefit him, it actually does benefit the whole city. And so just based on that premise, are we going to not want to do any type of road maintenance or road fixtures down Ackerman Road because former city council member live there, or any other street where a former city council member lived. I don't think that we should use that as a reason to base removing that sign on Vince Engelman and Fred Haynes. And that's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, we have Devin Hernandez.
How everybody doing this evening? First and foremost, I'm Coach Devin Henfield. I'm the president of Speed 21. I'm here because of Friendship Park. I would like to offer some of the services that I've done around the city. I do numerous free camps for males and females of all ages, from kindergarten all the way up to high school. I'm also involved with Texas Top Prospects, which is an NCAA credit company, where we recruit kids and get them into college, and we talk to different colleges, have different connections. And I would like to bring that also into this area. I'm also the athletic coordinator of the street at San Antonio Prep, right here on Foster Road, which the majority of all my student athletes either live in the Kirby area or stay right in Sunrise. And me, myself, I stay right across from Wood Lake Park. Excuse me, I'm letting like this. I've been on the news and everything, and I just never been nervous like this. But thank you. But I also I have an all-star game that I do every year. It's a Toys for Tie game, and I have over 350 participants in it. And that's also something that I would like to bring, because the issue that I have is a lot of places I go when I promote the events I have, because I also do fitness camps as well. When I do it, someone else will post, okay, they're doing a camp or something at the same location, and that becomes a conflict of interest with my parents and my family, and that's my first and foremost goal. So other than that, that is why I came here today. I was unaware that this was even possible. Brian was the one that referred me. I've worked with him numerous times on different things, and he said that he was going to give up his contract, and all the people he worked with, he recommended me. So that's how I'm here right now. And that's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Jeff Miller.
It's my understanding y'all are still, Jack Miller, 4839 Big Gordon. It's my understanding y'all are still talking about the $10 increase on the officer's off-duty rate. So I want to reiterate, please do that. For the same reasons. The First Amendment protects all kinds of speech, but Supreme Court justices have said more or less that it's really there to protect unpopular speech. Speech that you don't like. Speech that you hate, you find abusive or insulting, much like some of the speech that I engage in. And I just want to remind everybody on council that every single word that I've said since I've been coming to this city council meeting is protected by the First Amendment. None of it, as some of you have found out from our police department, none of it is considered disorderly conduct. They are not fighting words as defined by the Supreme Court of the United States. So, and I say some of the words I use because I will tell you, I've only been kicked out of a couple of council meetings. This one and City of San Antonio. City of San Antonio only once. But I've attended city council meetings all over the state of Texas. Can I see the time so I know how much I got? I got so much to say and then I might run out. Okay. So anyway, I don't always get kicked out. In fact, most of the time I don't get kicked out. You find me one day arguing or saying that our officers here need a $10 pay increase on their off-duty rate. And then you find me 2 days ago calling for the termination of every single officer in Uvalde, the immediate termination, for every single officer that was present while the rounds were being fired that made the choice to not go in as they had promised to do and were trained to do. At that meeting, the mayor told me that he was tired of people coming in from out of town, running their mouths, So my response was, well then, please tell the city I'm from to take all their emergency resources that have been down there since an hour after this thing has happened and continue to be. Tell them to go back to, you're tired of them, right? What that was viewpoint discrimination, which is what I'm gonna speak about right now. See, the mayor is okay with people coming up there and saying that the city's doing great and doing all the kumbaya stuff, talking about fish ponds and memorials. But when I get up there and I demand the termination of the officers who didn't go inside, and then one of the councilmen say, well, we have a law we have to follow, and I call them out on that because they are not civil service protected. And he's referring to civil service rules. They are at-will employees. They can be fired with or without reason. And then the mayor jumped up, and then I told the council, you know, if you guys aren't gonna do your job and terminate them like the citizens want, then I'm gonna educate your citizens on everything related to recalls and deal with you that way. We'll put some people in there that will. And the mayor said, if you're gonna do a recall, do the damn thing. I'll be the first one to sign it. And yes, he did say he would sign his own recall petition. It's viewpoint discrimination, right? Because you have a problem with what I'm saying and I'm criticizing, and you don't have a problem with everything else that people are saying that's non-criticizing. A lesson to be learned. Guys, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna say things when I feel I need to say them. And I'm not gonna apologize for the things I say. To the person that I say them to. After last council meeting, the one I got ejected out when I say some very foul things, I stayed outside. And witnesses will tell you I didn't stay outside and bother anybody. What I did though was I apologized to as many people as I could that endured my speech. It was horrible. I won't apologize to the person it was directed to because I feel that the mayor needs to apologize as well. And when the mayor apologizes to Mr. Garza, I'll apologize to the mayor. But I did apologize to other people outside. And I'll apologize again to anybody that I missed who endured that speech. And I want to remind folks that I mentioned that God killed somebody. And I was told that God doesn't kill people. But I'll just point you to one situation where God killed a ton of people as punishment. I believe Sodom and Gomorrah. And the list goes on and on. But God does kill. But he can. He doesn't murder, but he does kill. Just keep that in mind, please. Thank you.
Moving on to 6A, Police Badge Pinning Ceremony, Chief Roxanne Cardona.
I'd like to call William Hill to approach, please. William Hilt is going to be our new full-time police officer with some experience from previous agencies, and we're happy to have him. As a law enforcement officer, your fundamental duty is to serve the community, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional right of all persons to liberty, equality, and justice. You will keep your private life unsullied as an example to all, and will conduct yourself in a manner that does not bring discredit to you or your agency. You will maintain a courageous calm in the face of danger, scorn, or ridicule. Develop self-restraint and be constantly mindful of the welfare of others. Honest in thought and deed in both your personal and official life. You will be exemplary in obeying the laws of the land and the regulation of your department. Whatever you see or hear of a confidential nature or that is confided to you in your official capacity will be kept ever secret unless revelation is necessary in the performance of your duty. You will never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudices, political beliefs, aspirations, animosities, or friendships to influence your decision. With no compromise for crime and with relentless prosecution of criminals, you will enforce the law and courteously and appropriately without fear or favor, malice or ill will, never employing unnecessary force or violence, and never accepting gratuities. You will recognize the badge of your office as a symbol of public faith, and you will accept it as public trust to be held so long as you are true to the ethics of the police service. You will never engage in acts of corruption or bribery, nor will you condone such acts by other police officers. You will cooperate with all legally authorized agencies and their representatives in the pursuit of justice. You alone are responsible for your own standard of professional performance and will take every reasonable opportunity to enhance and improve your level of knowledge and competence. You will constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideals, dedicating yourself before God to your chosen profession, law enforcement.
That GTA. The boys in the hood are always hard. You come talking that trash, we'll pull your car. A car pulls up, who can it be? A fresh alchemy, no.
I will need help. City of Kirby against all enemies, both foreign and domestic, and I will faithfully and impartially discharge my duties as a police officer of the City of Kirby Police Department under the appointment of the department according to the laws of the state of Texas, county of Bear, to the best of my skills and abilities, so help me God.
You're fine, man. You're fine where you're at. You're fine where you're at.
I was gonna sneak over. Recognize Kirby Baptist Church for Youth Street Cleanup.
We've never been a part of anything like this before, so this is really cool. First of all, to God be the glory, but I do appreciate very much the recognition of this amazing group of teenagers that I have the privilege of working with at Kirby Baptist. Unfortunately, a lot of them couldn't be here tonight because they're already in band and football and things like that. But please know that Kirby Baptist Church is here to serve God through serving our community and the people in it. So if there's anything that we can do to help, like when the water situation happened or the freeze or something like that, please let us know. Don't hesitate to give us a call because we are here to serve y'all. Okay, thank you. Come on.
So, as a chairperson for the beautification and recycling of the city, we wanted to thank you for your youth group for the cleanup efforts that they did in June of 2022. They did cleaned up the streets over by Diadem. They cleaned up around Friendship Park and also the other little parks as well. So we wanted to thank them for their efforts. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Friendship Park is a lot bigger than you think it is.
on establishing a Kirby rock garden.
They would like to move the Kirby Rock Garden over by the Kirby Community Garden, over by the trees on the left side. And it'd be more protected over there, and then combined efforts, they could do a lot more of that. And that's proposed rock garden.
Councilmember Street.
I went to their meeting last weekend, and the area they want to put the rock garden in is right next to the Kirby Community Garden. It's under some trees, and I think it's a great place to put it. There's nothing else over there between the community garden and the fire station. And should the city decide they wanted to do something with that property, it would be easy to move the rocks. They're not permanent. But I think it would be a really nice activity for people who want to walk their dogs back there, and it's, might expose the community garden to more attention, so people realize it's there, and maybe we get more activity over there. I'm.
They have a lot of great ideas.
Yes, they do. They do.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Martin.
Ms. Wilcox,
Yes.
can you come back up?
Yes.
I don't know if you ever addressed this with the senior center or not, but we had a sign donated to the seniors rock, and there was supposed to be a rock garden going in there at that time. That's what that.
The
sign
little
is
area.
right there for. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if there's any communication ever, you know,
I think there should be both areas. One for the seniors over there, that way we can continue doing rocks with them, and they can be right there at their location. Then another larger area to make, you know, with, berries and stuff like that, where we can expand a little bit.
I just wanted to ask.
Any more questions?
Councilmember Garza.
I think, I saw the plans, honestly, I think it's a good idea, I think it's probably a great, place for it. I think it's a wonderful thing next to the garden particularly, because I think it'll probably go hand in hand with, volunteers wanting to not only create rocks, maybe they want to drop them off before they go to the garden and try to do some farming, but I think what it would do is kind of help a lot of people pull into that area as well. And I think, you know, as she's saying, that it's going to go then, I think that'd be a great run. Thank you.
Does anybody have anything else to say? Councilmember Wilson.
That's why I asked who's paying for the pavers to get to rock
Say that again.
garden. Who is paying for the pavers that gets to that rock garden?
So right now, there's nothing out there, we plan to do it a little bit at a time.
Okay, so y'all are just taking on the project yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Oh,
Anybody else? Mayor Pro Tem Greider. No, because it was just a presentation. Councilmember Martin.
Monique, does the city have an issue?
As long as I can take care of it.
All right. Moving on to 7. Consideration and action on minutes. 7A, special minutes of July 11th, 2022. Councilmember Walton.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to pass these minutes of July 11th, 2022.
Second. We have a motion on the table by Councilmember Walton, seconded by Councilmember Apodaca, to accept the special meeting minutes of July the 11th, 2022. City Secretary, please call roll.
Councilmember Walzett,
Yes.
Councilmember Apodaca,
Yes.
Councilmember Garza,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Greider,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Street,
No.
Mayor Aldridge.
Yes. The special meeting minutes of July 11, 2022 have passed. Moving to 7B, consideration of an action on minutes for regular meeting, July 28, 2022. I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion to accept the minutes July 28, 2022.
We have a motion on the table by Councilmember Martin and seconded by Councilmember Apodaca to accept the regular meeting minutes of July 28, 2022. City Secretary, please call roll.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Street,
Yes.
Councilmember Walzett,
Abstain.
Councilmember Apodaca,
Yes.
Councilmember Garza,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ryder,
Yes.
Mayor Aldridge.
Yes. The meeting for regular meeting minutes for July 28, 2022 have passed. 7C, consideration of and action on minutes for budget workshop on July 30th, 2022. I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make the motion that we accept the budget workshop minutes of July 30th, 2022.
Second.
We have a motion on the table by Councilmember Apodaca, seconded by Councilmember Garza, to accept the budget workshop meeting minutes of July 30th, 2022. City Secretary, please call roll.
Councilmember Apodaca,
Yes.
Councilmember Garza,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ryder,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Street,
Yes.
Councilmember Walzett,
Yes.
Mayor Aldridge.
Yes. The budget workshop minutes for July 30th, 2022 have passed. Moving to 8A, discussion and possible action on proposed 2022 property tax rate.
Okay, so if you will pull out 3 pages, you need your, the 2022 tax rate information sheet I will send to you. It looks like this, and the tax calculation worksheet, as well as if you have your certified tax roll document, that would be helpful as we walk through this. So we received from the Bear County Tax Assessor Collector's Office our certified tax roll on July the 21st. They compared 2 rates. That's at the top of the document. You'll see the voter approval tax rate, which is 0.614126, and then the no revenue tax rate, which is 0.605950. And so staff is proposing that we go with the voter approval tax rate, which is the 0.614126. It is the higher of the 2, slightly higher. That is the highest we can go without triggering an election. The no revenue rate is the amount of taxes that we need that we equal what we raise in this current fiscal year. So that will be the exact same amount of taxes. The slightly higher rate, we will raise a little bit more.
Something's in the way there. There we go. Hey guys, right now it's just a bunch of boring stuff about taxes, and they got a couple of other things on the agenda. It looks like the mayor chilled the fuck out. She didn't even, well, she's not fixed. She's still very much fucking broken. But while I was talking, I don't know, well, you guys couldn't see it, but while I was talking, she wouldn't even look forward. She looked away. Most of the time, anyway. Or some of the time. Anyway, so she's by no means fixed. She's very much broken. But if you guys didn't catch it, at the last council meeting, she falsely asserted that a councilman here committed the act of rape. And that infuriated me. And I spoke and expressed my frustration with her. And it wasn't nice. Warning, if you do watch that. And it's on, man, whose channel was that on? I forget. It's out there, though. I think SA210 Cop Watch put it out. Yeah, SA210 Cop Watch put it out. You can go over to his channel and see what I told her in response to her falsely, stating that this councilman committed rape when she knows that he didn't. And I was not very nice. That's probably one of the worst tongue lashes that I've given a woman in my life. No, you know what? That's not the worst tongue lashing I've given a woman. Let me rephrase that. That's probably one of the worst expressions of free speech that I ever unleashed on a city official. Yeah, we'll call it that. Anyhow, she seemed more chill today. Today I just came to remind them what the First Amendment protects. And the speech that I engaged in that day is exactly what the First Amendment is for. So I'm gonna, it's just some boring stuff in there, so I'll just take this opportunity. There's gonna be some discussion later on about two topics that are sensitive, and that is probably gonna result in the usual Kirby City Circus stuff, but it's much later. So right now I'll just take this opportunity to talk to you guys, answer some questions if you like. Hello, Caucasian Sasquatch. So now I can see Kirby PD were good when I audited, but that complaining them to dirty Lieutenant Martinez and Converse. Yeah, but that's comparing Blue Lives Matter. Blue Lives Matter says Kirby PD were good when he audited here. And guys, this is where I live. I live in Kirby. This is my city, my police department, if you will. And but he's comparing it to dirty Lieutenant Martinez in Converse, Texas, which is a city just up the block, basically. So, yeah, Blue Lives Matter. Did you guys see the myself and a handful of other folks, News Now Ninja, Corners News, Good Citizen News, James Madison, there was another guy from New York, Rogue Nation, I think. Yeah, I can't remember all of them, but we all went down to Uvalde, and that was quite fun. That was quite fun. It didn't take too long before we had one of the first officers that entered the front doors of the school, because they ever say he's the first officer in. No, nobody was in. Anyway, he was one of the first officers that laid his feet on the front on the tiles in the school. And of course we know what happened, right? They cowered out and didn't go in. And he was ready to chest bump. He was ready to chest bump us, challenging us to fight, all because we told him to put on his fucking seatbelt. A lot of tyranny going on in Uvalde. A lot of tyranny from the police. Not so much the Uvalde police. They're shutting the fuck up for the most part, anyway, from what I understood from the citizens. But the Uvalde County Sheriff's Department, I got a lot of reports of them engaging in retaliatory behavior against certain citizens that are loud when they speak. And then apparently there's I'm not gonna share this information because we're gonna go down there and have some fun with this information. But yeah, there's some tyranny going on down there. That was my first visit. That was my first visit to Uvalde. Some of the other guys have been down there already from day one. And you guys should have seen the videos from Uvalde, man. Just crazy stuff. Troopers slapping phones out of hands, challenging people to fight, and all this other bullshit. Not so tough when there's you know, when they gotta go in and stop a gunman. But, you know, they're tough with the cameras. They're used to intimidating citizens down there. And, you know, the citizens down there they just want to farm their crops, work their ranches, you know, enjoy the country living, and mind their own business. You know, good, free-spirited, free Americans down there, you know, doing their thing. And, you know, I guess the police, you know, whenever the citizens don't speak up every now and then and gut check them, the police get out of control. And they're out of control down there in Uvalde. Not just cowards. They're out of control too. And that goes for their city government. If you go look at News Now Ninja's live stream, and the other guys were live streaming, I think, or recording. They might put out some videos about it, but I know on KHOU 11 they have the full meeting live stream, so you can see actually everybody talking. Some of them you can't hear too well, so you might want to go to the guys' live streams to hear them better. Funny thing is, they had a secondary room in Uvalde for overflow, and I had walked in there after I gave up my seat in the council chamber, which was full. Several of us gave up our seat to family members who had children in the school. We didn't want them sitting off in the secondary room, so we gave up our seats. But I went into the secondary room and they had no video. So funny enough, they were at least nice enough to oblige, signing into YouTube and pulling up News Now Ninja's live stream. And that's what the citizens in the overflow were watching. That's how they were watching the council meeting. They were watching News Now Ninja's live stream on the big screen. And apparently the IT guy was there. He was trying to fix the problem, but there was a device that connects their video to stream, and it broke or overheated or something. So anyway, they're working to fix that. I don't think it was anything malicious. Something notable, the mayor, when I was speaking, I called for the immediate termination of all their police officers that were there and could have gone in to stop the shooter at that time. I'm not calling for the termination of officers that could have done nothing. Maybe they were doing something else, you know, I don't know, far away from the school where they couldn't get in there in time. But every officer that was inside of that school or outside of that school that didn't run in there like they were supposed to and stop that shooter, I'm calling for their immediate termination. And I told the mayor in Uvalde that's what the people want. That's what they're all saying. And my impression is that the city is just ignoring them. And not only are they ignoring them, but they're lying to the citizens in Uvalde. They're lying to them. One of the council people by the last name of King, in a response to me calling for their immediate termination, responded, I quote, "Google Texas peace officer termination," end quote, and you'll find the law pertaining to firing or terminating peace officers. And then he went on to say that the city has to follow the law. And we went back and forth, and I did acknowledge, yes sir, there is a law, you are telling the truth on that. But he wasn't telling the truth completely. You see, Texas is what's called an at-will state, meaning that when you're employed by someone, they can fire you with or without reason. And you don't have no grounds to sue them, even if you think the termination was wrongful, in your opinion, unless that termination was based on your race, your political affiliation, all that stuff, gender, those protected classes that you can't, use as a reason to fire someone. But unless it's one of those things, that situation, you have no grounds, because they can either keep you employed or not keep you employed, with or without reason. Generally, they'll give you a reason, but they don't have to. And so what the councilman was referring to, the law that the councilman was referring to, and you can look it up in the Texas Government Code. It's the laws regarding civil service protected peace officers, emergency personnel, firefighters, so on and so forth. These are police officers who are protected by what's called civil service here in Texas. And there's a whole part of the government code that regulates the hiring, the firing, the discipline, so on and so forth of those peace officers, you know, in this context. Uvalde police officers do not have civil service protection. They are not under civil service. They are at-will employees, meaning that they can be terminated with or without reason. And we know there's plenty of reason to terminate them. I have a rough draft of the general policy and procedures for the police department there, and I can identify 4 reasons to terminate, at least 4. And I've not got the official one yet, but when I get it, I'm going to identify every reason that they could be fired for their actions and inactions that day. And so they can just be fired for one of those things. And not only that, but okay, fine, anybody can sue for anything. And I think I made it very clear to them that you have your whole, you have all your citizens calling for their termination. So I don't believe that any legal costs that it would cost the city to defend a lawsuit from one of these knuckleheads, one of these cowards, I don't think that there's a check that the citizens won't sign to defend against these cowards suing the city for firing them for basically lying. They made us believe that when it came time to make a life or death decision, that they would make the decision to risk their life to save someone. And in this case, it was children. And they still chose. They already demonstrated that what their decision would be. Crazy enough, these same officers, along with DPS troopers who did not go in, are now going to be patrolling these schools as school begins to start. What are they patrolling for? It shouldn't be they're patrolling in case there's another mass shooting situation, because they've already we already know what they're going to do. Should there be another mass shooting in Uvalde, we know specifics on exactly what certain officers are going to do. They've already demonstrated that. And you can't, the city said that they were bringing in some top-notch training agency to train the officers how to deal with a mass shooting. They already had the training. They already had the training. It was nationwide training. All officers, all law enforcement agencies were on the same sheet of music, and it was indisputable what the expectation was whenever faced with an active shooter. And it didn't matter if it was at a school or it was at your place of business. You went in to eliminate the shooter first and foremost. You didn't help victims. You didn't try to save anybody, like, hands-on. You went in with this specific mission to stop the shooter. So what should they have done? The door was locked. We found out they lied about the door being locked. What should they have done? They should have went to that door and they should have blew those locks off with their guns, right? You got rifles, you got handguns, you blow the lock off. You blow the door off its hinges. Now, I know some people are going to say, yeah, but there's kids on the other side of that door. The training was you go in to stop the shooter. Yeah, sure. If you shoot at the door, you might hit a kid. You might do that. That's a maybe. But one thing's for sure, if you don't get in there to stop the shooter, there will be more death. Guaranteed. Especially when somebody's in there shooting. One kid, we learned that, there was an officer outside the door that established communication with the kid on the other side of the door. And the shooter went over there and executed him, realizing that he was still alive. So, anyway, I can go on and on about that. Very emotional about that. I am going to make Uvalde my hobby. I'm going to be going down there often. If you find it in your heart to throw some money my way for gas, things like that, I'd appreciate it. If not, it's cool. I'm going down there anyway. It's about, I don't know, it's about an hour from where I am. So, anyway. let's see here. Yeah, so watch out for that. The councilman was lying. The mayor, I indicated to the council that, I'm all for them trying to do the right thing, but so far, as far as terminating the officers, they're not doing the right thing. And if they're not going to do that, then I feel if I lived in that community that I would want to get them out of there and get some people up there on the council that would be brave enough to start terminating officers. And, following the power of the people, what the people want. And when I mentioned a recall, and I mentioned that I was going to do my part in trying to educate the citizens in Uvalde about everything related to recalls, and hopefully, they can decide if they want to recall the mayor or whoever they want to recall, but at least I can help them achieve that knowledge how to do it. The mayor said something like, if you're going to do a recall, he interrupted me. If you're going to do a recall, do the damn thing. I'll be the first one to sign it. He actually said that he would sign his own recall petition. Sounds to me he just needs to turn in his resignation. It'd be a lot easier. If you're willing to sign your own recall petition in support of your own recall, then you need to quit, right? So maybe you guys need to let them know. Man, he said he would sign his own recall petition. How about just turn in a resignation letter? Or don't turn in a resignation letter. Just fade off into the sunset, motherfucker. We don't need a letter from you. There's nothing in there. There's nothing in that letter you can tell us that we don't already know. You're a coward. You're a coward. You are the same level of coward as the officer you should fire for being a coward. There's a bunch of coward shit going on down there. Not cow shit, coward shit. Unbelievable. I'm going to have some video coming out of me talking with two bootlickers down there. They called me off into a side office. They wanted to tell me how they felt about my calls for terminating these officers. Oh, it's great. It went on for a good, 20, 30 minutes. And, of course, I'm shredding their little theories and stuff. But they said, they said that there was a deputy whose child was inside and did not make it. And they said, did I think that he should be fired? Because he went there, but he didn't go inside. Should he be fired? They said, because, he lost his own child. And I said, all right, let me ask you a question. So you're telling me he was there when the shooting was happening? Yes, they said. And I said, and you're telling me his child was in that classroom? Yes. Did he know that his child was dead or not? How could he possibly know, right? Turns out his child did die. And we don't know when his child died. His child could have been bleeding out at that point and not dead yet and could have been saved. We don't know that, right? What we do know is from witnesses inside the classroom that children were bleeding for a while and alive, and then they died, the ones that didn't get executed. So anyway, I said, so he was there, shooting was going on, he did not go inside. Well, he was stopped by other police officers. Okay, fair enough. I told him, I don't think he should be fired. And you should have seen this look on their face. They're like, aha, see? But then I immediately followed that up with, he should have swallowed a bullet that night. Because a man who has his own child in that classroom that does not go in there is the lowest form of human being, in my opinion. The lowest form of human being. I just can't fathom. Police officer tries to stop me. I mean, I was a cop at one time. If I were in that situation, and my child, children are in there, number one. So I just wouldn't have been following the orders anyway. Fuck the orders, don't go in. Fuck that, we're going in. I either go in by myself or you're gonna come in with me. Somebody should have started going in. If somebody would have started going in, the others would have followed. But nobody there had the balls to make that first step. And I'm not talking about running to the door and then running back. That guy's no hero either. I'm talking about running up to that door and blowing those locks off and going after that shooter and getting shot. Just so the next man can shoot. And if that man gets shot, the next one will shoot. But people will keep shooting at the shooter. Anyway, yeah. But this guy had a child in there, and he's still. I'm sorry. those officers would be fighting somebody. They'd be fighting that shooter or they'd be fighting me. I couldn't, how could you stand there hearing gunshots, knowing that somebody is shooting the children, and you have a child in there? How could you stand there and follow orders or the wishes of another human being to not do anything? Absolutely disgusting. I will be, amongst other illegal activity that I'll be engaging in Uvalde, and I know the folks that I work with, my colleagues, who we are all equal, will be doing the same thing. Amongst the other legal activities, I'll be tracking down these cops that didn't go in, because I want to know. I want to know why they are still wearing the badge. Should be an easy question to answer. Should be an easy question to answer. They have a reason they're still wearing a badge. Why didn't you go in? Should be an easy answer. Let's see if there's, because I want to see, are they still cowards? I'm sure they are. They're not going to answer. They're going to run away. Because that's what cowards do. I mean, if you're going to stand for something. If you're going to be a coward, be a coward. If you're not going to be a coward, don't be a coward. You know, my daddy always told me, if you're going to do something, whether it's good or it's bad, do it with 100%. Do it 100%. Anyway, all right, let me see what I'm looking at the comments here. Yeah, Jimmy Zab, I was down there yesterday. I talked with the father of one of the children, and the child was present, and he was in that classroom, and you know, I mean, the story, it broke. I mean, I live 100 miles away or whatever, and you know, I'm traumatized just like everybody else. I'm traumatized by what I observed. The shooting, the inaction of the police. I'm traumatized, and nothing compared to what that dad and that child is going through, but I don't have words to describe it. I can only try. I cried a few times. All of us did. Big tough auditors that were down there, I think all of us at one point cried at one time or the other. So it's a horrible, horrible situation. The mayor said that he was tired of people coming in from out of town. He interrupted me to tell me he was tired of people coming in from out of town. And let me tell you something. The city of San Antonio, within a half hour, had 2 SWAT teams heading that way. Then they sent fire trucks, EMS, helicopter. And they still to this day provide services. Mental health services, crisis intervention services. And I'm thinking, Mayor, are you telling the city of San Antonio you're tired of them coming in from out of town? Or are you just tired of us? That's what the mayor said. And I think the mayor needs to know where he fucked up. Uvalde, Texas mayor is tired of us coming in from out of town. The Uvalde, Texas mayor said he'll sign his own recall petition. File the damn thing, he said. And then Councilman King up there lying to the citizens about the law prevents them from firing the officers. Liar, pants on fire. But, the citizens down there, I can't blame them for believing what comes out of those people's mouths. They've been pulling the wool over the citizens' eyes for so long. They're going to believe anything that's being told. So you can't blame them. What we can do is we can educate them. So I'm calling on everybody that can possibly go down to Uvalde, or if you can send emails, you can send letters, you can make phone calls, or whatever it is, communicate to this city what they need to do. Communicate to the residents by way of video or whatever you need to do. Communicate to the residents about recalls and how to empower and coerce politicians to do the right thing. Shouldn't have to coerce politicians to do the right thing, but I guess you got to in your valley. Anyway, I got a Samsung Ultra 22. That's what I'm live streaming on. I don't have that problem with the black screen anymore. When I'm live streaming, I hope that the live stream is coming in good. How's the sound in the video? Is it all right? Give me some ones if it's okay. You guys got any questions? Thank you guys for coming in, man. Wamak, Cop Block, Hot Springs, Steel Crushers, Jimmy Zab, Cop Block, Hot Springs. Let's see here. Press Harder, Richard, Real Genie, 357, Sig Beats 9mm, Steel Crusher. Let's see who else. Jimmy Zab, yeah, James, Leslie Sylvan. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys. James says Nixon, Texas needs to be put on the map. Well, they are. They are. We got a lot of places on the map, man. A lot of places on the map. Hey, I wanted to tell you guys I started a new channel on YouTube and Facebook. It's called IAM. IAM, like I am. This stands for Internal Affairs Media. And on that channel, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showcasing the dynamics of the police complaint process. So there's ways to file effective police complaints. I've filed 3 here in Texas that have resulted in disciplinary action. Termination. Some of the other ones got a couple of weeks suspension. Supervisor got a 3-day suspension. I had a supervisor get a demotion. 2 officers left their departments. There's a way to file effective police complaints, and I'm going to be showcasing that whole process. There's going to be people who are going to be filing complaints, and if you're one of those, you can file a complaint, document the entire process. You should be able to film, and if they give you a problem with filming that, you're filing that complaint, send me an email and let me know, and I'll deal with that. I recently got Bexar County Sheriff's Office here locally to agree to have 2 complaints that I'm going to be filing well, actually I'm not filing, 2 citizens are, but I'll be assisting them. And so basically it's going to be twofold. One is citizens going and filing complaints, and we're going to look at the pitfalls and the mistakes and maybe critique how to do them better. But we're actually going to see real people filing real complaints, and so you can kind of like, hey man, that's like me, right? And then I'm going to provide all the information you need to file an effective police complaint. And it's going to go on the Facebook and the YouTube channel. They're both called the same thing, Internal Affairs Media. So you guys get over there, and I need followers, I need subscribers. You know how that works. I'm going to go use the restroom, and then I'm going to come back out. So hang tight. It's live. it's not gonna make a sound now. I'm going back to security. This is Officer Element. She's a Kirby police officer. She's camera shy. Come on, they want to see your face. And this guy is Officer Hodgkinson. There are two good ones here in Kirby doing the right thing.
Out here to visually see what we've already done and tell us what they specifically want us left to do. Because if it's just a matter of just where the handicap parking area is, that bit should be a whole lot less than the striping.
So the ADA inspector that came out, that was hired by the city. So I don't know if that's something they want to hire. Look at it, or they would look at.
Well, have they hired one?
We had to.
Okay, and what did he say when he saw the sidewalk?
So, when the state took over, our grant coordinator, she called and she says, Norma, we've got something for all these agencies now. Something has come up that you have to come out and hire an inspector. And so I said, well, how am I gonna get that as inspector? So I called GRASS, which is the senior center in Converse, and he told me, gave me the name of the inspector, so that cost the senior center, it was $900. I had spoken to Monique, and that was not in our budget, so, but we had to pay it. So that was $900 that the center had to come up with, and it wasn't even in our budget, but we had to pay for it, we didn't have a choice.
And what did he say when he saw what we have already done?
He measured the whole parking lot, and he says, you know, and measured where the buses were, well, the whole parking lot he did, sidewalks and all, and he came back in, and then he did the insides, like in the bathrooms, maybe the toilet was too close to the wall, it's just little stuff. And then he gave the report, and we sent it to ACON, and he said it was not ADA compliance.
But I think she's asking, since the sidewalk has been done, has he been back to them yet?
He has not, because you would have to pay another $900 probably.
Mayor Pro Tem Breyer.
So, I have two questions. So the inside, everything else has been updated, inside is now updated, correct?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay, so then I have three questions. Okay, that's gonna be on, okay, I'll leave that alone, okay. Now, okay, so back to the outside. Now, I was under the impression, now that you just talked about that, I thought we were doing the whole parking lot in the first place. I didn't know we were doing half the parking lot. I mean, so, I understand we're talking about money, but also, we need to spend that money.
Can you
so
guys
we don't
hear
have
them
further
talking?
issues. So I think if we're gonna do it, we need to do it right the first time, complete the project, like you said, the first time, and don't keep going back, I mean.
Councilmember Martin.
The channel just started, so you'll have to do a hard search for it, but I'll put a link up to
We
it
might could have found a grant to fix it,
when I can.
you know. I don't like that it's sprung on us in such a short period of time. And I know it's earlier in the budget, I know it needs to be
Just
fixed,
search
that's why I'm asking.
internal
When
affairs
does
media.
the inside have to be fixed by?
When is what?
When is the inside have to be fixed by?
She did specifically
her informed, like I will go back and call her, because I told her that this was gonna be on the
It's
agenda
okay,
again.
guys. I'll do a video and let you
At least what do you
guys see the
suggest?
link. Thank you for trying.
So I know, I already know,
It's brand new, so it's probably not going to come up in any searches just yet, but it is out there.
To be honest, at this point, it's a much higher cost, but I feel like we need to control parking lot. Because if we don't, they still aren't going to have the money. And, you're right, you said it's our building anyway, we're gonna eventually have to do it.
And I understand that, what gets me is, there's no guarantee of the work because the foundation is already there. I mean, it
And
shouldn't
according
have
to
been
the contractor, we were out there, he said, you know, he didn't see a need for, we were having a discussion about why, he wanted to know why we recommended to zip it in the first place.
One of my
That was the
videos
place.
on the YouTube channel is titled Officer, wait, it's titled Unlawful Search Dash Officer Fired.
So.
That's on the YouTube channel. It had like 70,000 views. So try to search it by that video.
Councilmember Walsick?
Okay, there were things
Thanks,
inside,
guys.
like the water fountain and the men's urinal, I believe. When is your expectation? I believe you said that you were going to take that project on yourself.
Well, if nothing else, you know, I would have to get
That's
somebody.
what you had originally told us, correct?
I would have to get somebody to just fix the little stuff inside, yes.
Okay, so when do you think that you're going to have your end of it done?
And your idea, I would have to just put it on our.
Because I don't wanna do our end for, you know, and then still get fined because the inside wasn't done. You see my point that I'm getting at? Okay. As long as you see that, that's great. Yep.
Well, I will entertain motion.
I make a motion that we approve the funding in order to fix, council approve, the initial work we paving to, fix the parking lot to meet ADA standards with ADA. Sorry.
The entire parking lot.
Yeah, the entire parking lot, 'cause yeah, so to keep mobilizing, I just think it's not a good issue.
Okay, we have a motion on the table by Councilmember Garza and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Greider to accept the funding for the entire parking lot to be ADA compliant for the Kirby Senior Center. City Secretary, please call roll.
Councilmember Garza,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Greider,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Street,
Yes.
Councilmember Walsick,
Yes.
Councilmember Apadaka,
Yes.
Mayor Aldrich.
Yes. The funding has been approved for the senior center parking lot to be ADA compliant. 8H, update and discussion on Kirby water distribution system and well site improvement plan. Monique?
So I wanted to talk about the system that we currently have at both wells 2 and 3. We have a system called Omni-Site Well Site Monitoring. And what it is when it was proposed to us, it's not as expensive as a SCADA system. It is a monitoring system that is connected through, it used to be connected through cell phone, and now it's connected through like a internet battery pack connection. And what happens is you can assign a call-out list. Where the text
They're
calls
talking
are
about
forwarded.
things in response to the time we lost water a couple of weeks ago in the entire city.
That system is supposed to, when it's functioning, you know, properly send a text message. You're supposed to call dispatch, the public works director, call public works phone, and you're supposed to text the city manager's phone. But it doesn't allow you to like log in, monitor the wells, see the pressure from an app or a computer. And so we have a proposal from this company called Microcom, and they couldn't make it tonight. They're prepared to come to the August 25th meeting, give a full presentation about how the system works. But this is what most cities have at their well sites that will allow you to monitor them, where it has alarms, and it's a lot more expensive. So I don't know what that whole cost is going to be. They actually have to come on site and look at our equipment before they can give us a complete proposal to us. But I think that is something that we would need to fund this upcoming fiscal year. It just makes sense to have that put in place for the safety of our water system. And then that would do away with the Omni site. That only cost us, I think, we're paying like $300 a year to continue that system. So that's not a big loss of expense. In the meantime, going to be ordering some backup batteries for that Omni site system until the SCADA system can be installed. Because when I talked to the company, I asked, well, what is it that happened that it did not alert us? We know Wells 2 was down for that electrical repair, but why didn't we get any phone calls or text messages for it? He said, well, it was like the backup battery system was not connected. Okay. So that is all we can do in the meantime. I don't know how long it will take to get a SCADA system put in place. But what we do is we have on-call public works employees. They go to the well sites every morning. That's part of their routine is to go check the water pressure, check the chlorine, take the samples on the assigned days. And then they go back before the end of the day and do the same thing. Anytime that there is a call for low water pressure or no water, they do come out and they'll go first to the wells to make sure there is no issue at the sites. But this would help them as well because if they get that call, then they can actually log in or take a look before physically coming out and make an assessment as to whether or not they need to come on site. So I do think, when we get more information, full presentation, we need to look at not just this vendor, but at some SCADA system vendor. But this one was referred to as by Universal City. This is the very close.
Councilmember Street.
I was gonna ask, is there another vendor besides these guys?
Yes, sir. So
Okay.
we reach out to at least 3.
Okay, and I didn't find it. As I was reading through, I was hunting for something that gave us an idea of how much the system would cost. And I under the company profile on the last page, page 3, says the average size projects average around $100,000. The majority are rural water systems and small municipal water systems. So we're looking at 100,000. Okay, and we have that in the water fund. Okay, but we have that available in the water fund to do this. Would ARPA funds be available to spend on this?
Yes, because that's good drinking water system, so it would qualify.
Yes.
But I didn't even know that we would need it because we have 14 months reserved for everything in the water fund.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Thank you.
Councilmember Martin.
20, is this for all 3 wells?
2, we only have 2.
I don't know, wells, I don't know about towers.
That, I don't know, I was looking at their diagram of how it's connected, and so I don't know if you connect it to the ground storage tank or not. Because the way that one is set up is that the city is operating off of the above ground tanks. That ground storage tank, if that water gets low, those booster pumps kick on and it starts feeding water to the above ground tank. So I don't know that you have to have it connected to the ground. But it would be the whole system is what you're explaining to me.
Councilmember Garza.
As far as the SCADA system goes, I mean, is there a monthly fee like there was, or a yearly fee like there was for this other system that we have in here currently?
I think that when he explained, they can do like financing where you pay the first year, you pay like 55% of it to get it set up and then you pay it annually. I don't know if you can break it out by month, but it would probably be easier for us to get some budgeting.
Yeah, okay. And then, also, as Mark was asking about the 3 wells, I mean, do we know what happened to well 1? Are we sure about, like, is it a capped well? Is it
It's
something?
capped, yeah, we did some research and TCQ showed that it was capped. I forgot the law, but yeah, it was over where it's on the Gibbs Sprawl where the impound yard is now was well site number 1. So it was closed down and capped. I don't know the reason. I have a visit with TCEQ, they come out next week, so I can ask them if they can do some additional research and figure out what the reason for that was.
Cool, that would be awesome. I also, when I was reading through a lot of this stuff, I was talking a little bit here about how our sewer treatment and everything's going through solids. And I was kind of wondering, like, I mean, I noticed on particular, like, our bills, I mean, we're paying saws, it seems like we're paying saws an awful lot for, you know, for just our sewer. I mean, are we getting any kind of discount because we just use super for them? Because we do provide our own water, right?
No, we don't, and we were posting about that before, and it is not an option. They charge you based on, how they have their billing structure set up, and it's based on connections. It doesn't matter
That we're providing our own water. Well, in that case, I mean, would letters help, would going to any meetings help? I mean, is there anything where we might be able to talk to somebody to ask about that stuff?
Councilman Raleigh, can we keep it
I'm
on?
sorry.
Moving on, is there anything that we need to do on this?
No, at this point, like I said, we want to wait until they come in. I was trying to see if I can get a proposal from the additional companies, and maybe we can get them all here at one time. We'll have the site visit of TCQ next week, and then we'll see if there's any other recommendations. But the only other thing I do know, when they are processing it, we need an electrical engineers to come on board and kind of redesign the electrical that's out there, the generator connection. So we're gonna get some cost on the engineer. We already have an electrician that was referred to us because they didn't have no touch it until we have to have some money. So it will be, we'll come up with a full cost of what we need for this upcoming fiscal year for the water improvements.
Councilmember Walzek.
Mayor, so let's just table this until we get all the information we need, even if it's not by August 25th. I mean, it's better to give us the full information with the electrician and the engineer and the staff system and to make a final determination on this and just do this along.
Mr. Miller, if you all would like to address this issue, please go to the podium.
Jack Miller, 4839 Dick Gordon. On the cost thing, I could right now. I'm researching buying a new TV, and I can afford to buy 10 of them. But I've spent already a week and a half looking for the best deal, and because even though I have the money, I want to get the best price. And I know that you guys are on the same page on that, getting the best price possible. If there's 10 vendors, I would expect the city to entertain bids from all 10 vendors. Open it up, contact all 10, or how many ever there are. And then I just want to let you know when it comes to technology for monitoring, I would ask that you just be frugal or do your due diligence in that they don't charge you way more for technology than what they're supposed to. You can't. My truck, if you touch it, it tells me on my phone, and it records inside and out. It uploads to the cloud. And I pay $19 a month for that. And so my point is that while I know you guys would pay a premium, right, because you're commercial, city, whatever. I don't want them to be digging in your pockets just because you're a city, right? The technology's there. It's not as expensive as folks may think. I know the hardware is probably going to be expensive, and engineers, they don't make minimum wage. I get that part, but let's make sure, please, we're running this just like you would run your own stuff in your own home, trying to get the best price, the best bang for your buck, please. Thank you.
So, Monique, when did you say that you would have all that information compiled?
So for sure, standard system presentations on the 25th.
Okay.
And then I would like to have some numbers to put in the budget for the final budget for the water.
Okay, all right. Any more discussion? Moving on. Our city manager would like us to postpone discussion of possible action on ordinance number O, 2022-914, an ordinance amending the 2021-2022 municipal budget of the city of Kirby. I will entertain a motion.
I move that we postpone the reviewing of ordinance number O-2022-914, amending the 2021-2022 municipal budget.
I'll second that.
We have a motion on the table by Councilmember Streets, seconded by Councilmember Apadaka, to postpone the discussion and action on ordinance number O 2022-914. City Secretary, please call roll.
Councilmember Street,
Yes.
Councilmember Waltrip,
Yes.
Councilmember Apadaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Garza,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ryder,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Mayor Aldridge.
Yes, this agenda item has been postponed to our next meeting. Moving on to 8J, discussion and possible action on appointment of a member to the Economic Development Committee. I believe we have 2 applicants.
Right, and one is Drew today, Ms. Teresa Martinez, and she's not gonna be able to serve.
Okay. So then we have 1 applicant. I will entertain a motion if we don't have any discussion. Councilmember Martin?
I move that we accept, Cecilia Padilla, the application for the PDC committee.
Second.
We have a motion on the table by Councilmember Martin and seconded by Councilmember Street to accept the appointment of Cecilia Padilla to the Economic Development Committee. City Secretary, please call roll.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Street,
Yes.
Councilmember Waltrip,
Yes.
Councilmember Apadaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Garza,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ryder,
Yes.
Mayor Aldridge.
Yes, Ms. Padilla, welcome to the Economic Development Committee. Moving on to the 8th, discussion and possible action to establish an ordinance review committee. City manager.
So, this was a committee that we had established, they last met in 2017, and their task was they were going through the ordinance book from page 1 down the line, reviewing and recommending updates to the council. So, we're having a discussion now, this would probably be a good idea, because they never made it through the entire book, and then, a few years have passed, so some things probably need to be updated again. It was a 3-member committee at that time. And so, our charter says the mayor can establish any committee. You all can decide how you want to do it. You want to take applications, you want to appoint people, you want to reach out to the original members and see if they're interested. My only thought for the difference in time is that they don't have to meet here at City Hall. So maybe they can meet, on their homes, and then they'll present their recommendations. That way, we will get some additional staff time.
Yeah, I think that's really, really good. I think that we should take applications, but if we don't get any applications, I think we should ask the previous members. Councilmember Walzig.
2 things. Madam Mayor, I would like you to consider a code compliance person to help us in certain portions of it, because they are well versed in code compliance. On the appointing committee, yes ma'am. And also, I'd be more than happy to be on that committee, but I think we need at least 5 people on
I agree that we think we should have 5 people on the committee. Councilmember Street.
I think on the committee, we should have, yes, 5 people, code compliance, because they know what they can enforce and what is most often not enforceable. And also maybe a business owner in the city might be helpful, and at least 1, 2 councilmen. I don't.
Now, are we recommending, because I know we have some residents that live here that work in code compliance in other places.
Exactly.
Are we recommending, I would recommend their participation as opposed to staff.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. I would rather this be, an outside look instead of council members being on it. That's just my preference. So we'll just take applications. Monique?
Right, so if y'all are gonna take action, go ahead and establish an ordinance review committee of 5, and then we can go ahead and start advertising.
Councilmember Martin.
but they can't apply for the applications. To the council.
Mayor Pro Tem Gardner.
So, I actually agree with the mayor. I don't think a council member should be on there. I think that when we talk about, transparency and all that stuff going on that's happened in the past and present, maybe we should just wait until we see it after, because I can already see problems. I'm already thinking 3 steps ahead, and I can already see some issues if council members, multiple council members especially, were on there, on the committee. So, I mean, that's how I feel.
Councilmember Street.
Will there be a time frame on this, like there's on the charter review? Charter review has 6 months to do it. That's what I'm asking. Is there a time frame on this one? Will you establish for completion?
I would say 6 months would be good. Councilmember Garza, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
That's okay. I'm in the idea that I don't really see a major issue with a council member. I think multiple council members might be more of an issue, but I think a council member would kind of give some direction, possibly to just push hey, these are the things that are going, and this is what needs to happen. Or they can at least have people who come to them to let them know, hey, these are some codes that are this way or that way that I don't necessarily agree with, or that I think should at least be looked at by that committee. And I think it would be helpful to the group, or the committee that ends up looking over the ordinances, and I think it would be helpful to the residents altogether.
Mayor Pro Tem Gardner.
So to that point, I would say that, the residents and council members on the committee, right? So they would have an opportunity then to voice their opinion because the committee members, it's going to be public. Whatever members are on the committee, so I don't see that being an issue. I just don't think that it should, and just by that statement.
Can you guys hear them okay?
Having our input into it, I think that we should wash our hands at the beginning and wait to the end until it's actually presented to us.
Mr. Miller, if you would like to address this agenda item, you please move to the podium. Councilmember Martin.
I'm okay with Councilman Ryder's suggestion, but I think we need to have new people, not the same ones that have written it before, because that's why we're reviewing it. We suggested new eyes, new thoughts.
Councilmember Abbott.
I agree with Mayor Pro Tem Ryder. I don't believe that council members should be on the committee. This would give the city a chance to have some residents come forward and be on the committee. But I don't think that council input needs to be there. Chris said if he thought a council member could go there, and he used the word I don't want the council's thoughts to be running this. I think that it needs to be done by the citizens.
Mr. Miller.
Jack Miller, 4839 Day Court. No council people on the committee. So you guys have your job to do up there. Personally, I don't think you need to be on any committees. You got a lot to do up there already. And not only that, but again, so, residents, they know that there's an ordinance committee. They come to the committee with their issues. And the committee and the council should be able to communicate with each other without a council person being on the committee itself. A person from the business community, absolutely. A resident, absolutely. somebody that has a code compliance background, absolutely. They're all great representatives that can come together with their own little input, right, and their experience and stuff. Probably more residents on there than anything, right, because that's right who it's going to affect. And then and it's needed. 2017 to 2022, what a crazy number of years. A lot has changed, and I think we do have some ordinances, and I'm not going to get into that, but I think we do have some ordinances that need to be modified. Some a little more, some a little less, to keep up with the current times. And please, guys, please, regarding this matter, whether you feel that council people need to be on it or not, please avoid the circus stuff. Everybody has their own opinion on it. Let's respect them, and then let's get this committee started. 6 months, did I hear that? 6 months to get it established? I don't know about that.
Yeah, that was finished reading.
Please don't interrupt him, it's his time to speak.
It's okay, Mayor, I asked a question. If you guys want to answer the question, you can.
Mr. Miller, it would be 6 months for the committee to complete their task.
Who can it be? A fresh El Camino Roller Kilo G. Roll down the
I'm turning it off.
Silence your phone.
Yeah, I did twice, but I don't know why that's coming through. I'm sorry.
Okay, so we are all in agreement to 5 members. And no council, I will entertain a motion to.
Mayor, I move that we establish an ordinance review committee of
I
5
just want you to know I'm
members.
not.
With no council members on the committee with a 6-month tenure. After the committee.
Establish an ordinance review committee with 5 members and no council members for the committee to complete their task within 6 months. City Secretary, please call roll.
Councilmember Street,
City Secretary, please hold one moment. Councilmember Martin.
Mayor, sorry, I'd like to amend that motion to 5 years.
Okay, so what are you gonna do if you don't get 5 reviews?
We need to change the ordinance. We don't need to say keep the right ones.
So all these ordinances weren't written from 2017 to 2022. They even made it halfway through. What I'm saying is they need to make it halfway through. So what I'm saying, so before they didn't write all the ordinances. That's what I'm trying to say. And also to that point, for instance, you can even say, okay, the mayor just said, what if nobody applies? Except a couple of the older people who, the previous members, yes, not the older people, the previous members before. Right. And you say you'll appoint somebody, well, obviously, it's a.
Members would call and ask that if they would be willing to do it, or something of that nature. Is that possible?
Anything is possible, Councilmember Carter, but I do believe that, that if we hold off in creating this committee, 6 months is gonna take a long time, and I would rather establish this committee and get it started right away. Mayor Ryder, sorry.
And I think I know where this is going.
No, you don't. Why do you keep saying
Councilmember
that?
Martin, please let her speak.
You don't even know what I'm about to
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
Okay.
Councilmember,
Sorry, go
please.
ahead.
I'm asking for new vision.
Please continue, Mayor Ryder.
So what I was gonna say was that, while I was saying, I think I know where this is going when you're talking about new vision, is because you're thinking the same ideas are gonna be brought up in the ordinances. That necessarily doesn't have to be the case. That's what I'm trying to say. So, I mean, you wanna, number one, they are registered voters in our community. So are we saying that we're gonna say that they cannot participate? Is that what we're saying? Because that's what we need to make clear, because that's what it sounds like. That we're excluding people from not wanting to participate, or we're excluding people because they were already on the previous in 2017.
So if I may, just from a volunteerism standpoint, who are not running up here to volunteer, so I don't think that we should eliminate anyone from applying. When people apply, council, you have the discretion of who you are going to appoint or not appoint based on the applicant pool. So I just think you need to establish your 5-member committee and allow anybody who's interested to apply.
But every application counts, it says, are you a voter? Right, in every application.
Right. No, but what I'm saying is, I don't think that it's a good idea to say, to amend the motion to say someone who previously served can apply. That's what I'm saying. I feel like, when you get ready to appoint, you have the discretion of who you're going to appoint.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown.
Yes, so sorry, what the point that I was trying to make was that when the ordinances, when they review these ordinances, it's not like it's just automatically passed. They still have to come in front of the council. So it's not like you're the final say of anything. So they can review the ordinances, they still have to come up here to get it approved. That's what I'm saying. I think I know where that was going, where you're saying that you want new eyes on it. No matter what, they still have to come before, the ordinance has to come before us to have the final say. So no matter what, it can be changed, it can be modified, whatever.
Councilman, I'm sorry, Councilmember Garza, did you have anything?
Yeah, no, I wanted to make sure that we allow this one class to speak if she wants to. We have to make a motion for that, correct? Yeah. Is it like a motion, type motion, or do you have to present a motion to do it?
So we already have a motion.
That's right.
So we have to carry that out, or if someone was gonna
Does
say. his
this
amendment-
amended motion need a second?
Yes.
Do I need to repeat?
No. I'm waiting for a second before it dies. To amend it? Okay. We have, re-say your.
Is it possible to rescind all the motions so we can have the school clock speak and then we can just
I just think y'all should accept every application that you.
Wait. We still have this motion.
I'm making a motion.
Are you rescinding your motion?
I guess I'm amending a motion to have 5 new residents on the Harvest Committee.
We have an amended motion on the table with,
So you have this amended motion to make sure that it's 5 new residents on the committee. Councilman Rob seconded. You're gonna vote on that amended motion. Then you're gonna go back and vote on the amended motion. You want to choose right?
okay, all right. So there's an amended motion on the table by Councilmember Martin, seconded by Councilmember Apodaca, to have new members to the review committee, and seconded by Apodaca. City Secretary, please call roll.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Street,
No.
Councilmember Walzek,
No.
Councilmember Apodaca,
Yes.
Councilmember Garza,
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Ryder,
No.
Mayor Aldrich.
No. The motion does not pass to have only new members on the committee. Going back to our first motion by Councilmember Street.
Wait, but we still have to carry this motion. So we're at the main motion. If we finish that, then yes, whoever made it.
Can I rescind it?
You rescinding?
I'm rescinding.
Are you rescinding?
You seconded it.
Seconded. Okay. Okay, I will entertain a motion.
Oh, yes. I make a motion to let Ms. Wilcox speak.
I think every
Hold on,
available.
hold on. Somebody has a second.
Second.
I have a motion on the table by Councilmember Garza, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Greider, to allow Ms. Wilcox to speak. City Secretary, please call roll.
Councilmember Garza,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Greider,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Street,
Yes.
Councilmember Walzett,
Yes.
Councilmember Apadaka,
Yes.
Mayor Aldridge.
Yes. Go ahead, Ms. Ms. Wilcox.
I want every opportunity for every single person in this community to volunteer to be on these boards. Even if they have been on them before, maybe they want to be on a different board. Find the right fit for the right community person. And just build these boards. Just reach out to the community without a lot of attitudes and stuff. Let's welcome them. That's all I have to say.
Councilmember Walzett?
I'd like to make a motion. That we establish an ordinance review committee with 4 citizens and 1 code compliance person to establish that and review for a 6-month period. I'd like to amend my motion. Okay, for 5 citizens on the ordinance review committee, plus a code compliance person. And as long as I'm amending it, add a council liaison to review the ordinances in a 6-month period. Have one last time.
Do I have a second? Okay, motion dies. I will entertain a new motion.
I just have something to say. When it comes down to it, you're absolutely right. It did happen last time. But when it comes down to the idea, either I feel like a council can be involved or they're not going to be involved, it's like one way or the other. And I think in this scenario, basically I've kind of changed my mind on the whole idea because it does make a lot of sense actually when you think about it. But as Ms. Ryder was stating, she said it's going to come to council afterwards anyway. So, I mean, I think that gives us a lot of opportunity to look over, what's actually happening, what the changes are. So as long as we track the changes on the ordinances, it's gonna come through us. So we're gonna have to look at it no matter how it goes. So I think that, in this scenario, it's the best to go back to, Mr. Street's motion. Or make another motion.
I will entertain a new motion.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we establish an ordinance review committee with 5 members and a 6-month timeframe for completion.
Do I have a second?
Is that a resident that has any? Yes.
And a resident with code compliance experience.
I second that.
We have a motion on the table and second by Councilmember Street and seconded by Councilmember Garza to appoint a 5-member committee with a 6-month task to the ordinance review committee. City Secretary, please call roll.
Councilmember Street,
Yes.
Councilmember Walzett,
Yes.
Councilmember Apadaka,
Yes.
Councilmember
Councilmember Garza,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ryder,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Mayor Aldridge.
Yes. Okay. The ordinance review committee has tasked to be established. Moving on to 8L, discussion and possible action to establish a City of Kirby fee schedule. Is this you, Monique? Councilmember Street? Okay.
Last meeting, we were talking about the fee schedule attached to the ordinance for parks. And we thought it would be a better idea perhaps to have the fee schedule separate so that it could be adjusted by council as needed, rather than to have to reapprove and go through the ordinance process. So what I did was I set up the fee schedule with the same amounts that were previously on there. The exception was that I added under the John Sterling Pool, you know, it says, in the ordinance, it said $25 per lifeguard. It did not have an hourly rate. It was just per lifeguard, so I added per hour. And then there was no security cost put in. And the only information I have right now is that it's $30 an hour. We can make that change now if we need to, for those who want to pay them more for their outside activities for the city. But I dropped $30 an hour in there for security, and that's on the back side, so it's the second page. But I think this would make it easier for us. We could post it out here, put it in that rack that has all the other information. Anybody can come by and pick up a copy. It'll be posted under public notices on the city website. And that way you know when you're planning a party, what your costs are going to be.
Does anybody have any questions or comments?
So yes, I do agree that $30 per hour needs to be bumped up. At least 35 to 40, we can go, up a little bit, if 40 is too much, let's please do 35.
Councilmember Garza.
I just want to make sure, right now, when you're speaking to that, are we speaking about are we speaking about the rentals, or are we speaking, we're speaking about customer officer? Okay, it's my belief that it should be at 40. Yeah, I mean, it's still cheaper than, they're getting in any other, any other park, any other thing like that. So I truly believe that, this is not something that's coming out of our budget. And, I don't think, extra $30, if you're having 3-hour events, really gonna hurt too many people if that's the case. I truly believe that our cops are deserving of it, and I think that we should go with it.
But it would be out, it would be $40 an hour per officer.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, $30 because of like the 3-hour event, that's how it's proceeded.
Mr. Miller, if you would like to speak on this agenda, please move to the podium.
Jack Miller, 4839 Dick Gordon. Yeah, so thank you for everybody for keeping this alive with the rate for the officers. Thank you for that. You didn't have to. But we're going. We don't need to be going back and forth about $5. All right, these are the guys, right? These are the guys that and girls. No, I'm sorry. That when there's a mass shooting, and I've said this before, we are not exempt to it. These are the folks that are going to run into the bullet. These are the folks that are going to save someone's life. These are the folks that we expect to put their life on the line and make a decision to die if need be to protect us. From somebody shooting up the party that's going on, or somebody in the party shooting at somebody else and bullets are flying into houses and stuff, right? So please, 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 I believe $100 an hour is appropriate. That's what I believe. That's my personal opinion. But we'll do with 40. And thank you very much for keeping this alive. Please vote for 40.
Mayor Pro Tem Ryder.
Do we need to put the the season pass on here?
Excuse me.
Councilmember Street.
Because this is a separate fee schedule, we can put the season pass on there without going through an ordinance review.
Okay.
So if we make this separate, which is what the decision is tonight, to take it out of the ordinance and make it a separate thing that we can deal with as needed, and we can add that to the past whenever we need.
This just says to establish a fee schedule.
Establish a fee schedule. That's my understanding.
He doesn't say take it out of the ordinance. All right, if there is not any more discussion or question,
I have a question. I was just wondering, I remember when we talked about, the negotiating, like the individual groups negotiating their fees, and you guys want to put a statement on there about.
All right, guys. Well, I'm done. SCXC Prez is here, and we're gonna go. We're gonna go and handle some business. So, adios, amigos. Thank y'all.